I'm trying out a car-free life in Southern California, and I needed a big weekend adventure. The holidays were over, and a few weeks of lousy weather was just clearing up into beautiful sunny days. The conditions were perfect for one of my all-time favorite Southern California car-free adventures, the San Diego Classic. 2 days, 2 nights, 120 miles of biking, 1 night of camping, and a train ride back home. I packed my bags, and the essentials are pretty minimal for this trip. Just a tent, sleeping bag, change of clothes, camera gear, and toiletries. I opted for the acoustic bike on this trip, which meant a lot less packing space, but I really didn't want to run out of battery halfway to San Diego. You can't run out of battery if you don't start with one in the first place. Or at least, that's what I told myself. And we're off. Here we go. It's a beautiful morning. There's something about riding away from home with all the stuff that you need to just keep going away. Makes you feel like a kid. We're just gonna do a quick ride to coffee to make sure everything is in order and working properly. The San Diego Classic is not a race. Think of it more like an all-day beachfront stroll. This is not a protein bars and gels kind of a ride. It's more like a coffee, pizza, and tacos sort of a ride. I started by taking the A-line from Pasadena to Long Beach to start the ride along the coast. We have something like 60 miles to do today. I just cruise around 10 miles an hour. We'll get there before the sun goes down, which is kind of my only goal. I'm realizing right now that I forgot my headlamp. So I'd like to not have to set up camp in the dark. This is it for the next 2 days. It's just riding down the beach, taking in the sights and sounds, and that's amazing, man. January in California. Not too bad. I had done this ride a couple times before, most recently in 2022 with my coworker Nick. You cruise through a dozen beach cities along the way. There's plenty of food and rest options. There are a lot of bike lanes and side trails to explore. There's also a decent stretch where you're literally on the interstate. So, full mixed bag for this ride. I'm definitely thinking about food already. I don't think it's too early for a slice of pizza. I think that's gonna be the ticket. Around 20 miles into the ride, I stopped in for pizza. All right, fueled up. Looks like we got about 40 miles to camp. Plenty of time. All right, I've gotten used to the balance on this bike. I'll admit, I first learned to ride with no hands because I thought it looks really cool. And I still think that. But on a long ride like today, it's really nice to just have the ability to get up and stretch your back. It feels really good to just be able to do this every few miles. So there is a little practicality to it now. When I've done this ride in the past, we've gone this way. It's a nice frontage road along the PCH, but I want to explore. It looks like there's a trail I can take, but we will see. I had stumbled onto the Bolsa Chica Ecological Reserve, 1,400 acres, one of the largest saltwater marshes in California. Turns out bikes aren't allowed on the trails, but I did stumble on this cool map of the Santa Ana watershed, and it got me thinking about watersheds for the rest of the day. I had no idea how many watersheds were in Southern California. And as it turns out, I'll bike through 3 of them today. I kind of wonder to myself why that isn't something more of us know about. We've got signs for everything. Maybe just some signs saying, hey, new watershed alert or something. Coming on your left.
You want a better ride, it's a little bit.
I love the dog basket. It's so good. I rolled down through Newport and headed for the Balboa Peninsula, where I plan to take the ferry across to Balboa Island and then continue on down through Orange County. We're going by, I was going to say intuition, I don't think this is intuition. I think this is, we're going by random feel. We're trying to find the ferry. When life hands you the opportunity to take a bike on a ferry, my book says you say yes every time. It's $2.25 for a ride across the channel, worth every cent. It had been about 10 miles since my pizza, and Balboa Island is famous for their frozen bananas. So naturally we stopped in. Bro, look at that. It's about to be so good. Oh, right. That was a good pit stop. Google Maps estimates I'm gonna arrive like right at sunset. So, as long as we're not doing any lollygagging, we should be okay. The only problem with that plan is that I love lollygagging. Let the Dilly Dallying begin. Crystal Cove State Park. If you're not okay with a little Dilly Dallying, you probably wouldn't like riding your bike with me. I think it's kind of the best way to travel. Exploring, meandering, following little side quests. That's all part of the magic. I wish it were prettier out here. I forgot how many hills are in Laguna. It's been flat all day. And then like 40 miles in, the hills start. Where are we at? 45 miles. About 15 to go. These punchy hills. They're not like that sustained. You just settle into them and then they're over. They are gassing me right now. I get that what I'm doing right now is not everyone's cup of tea for like a weekend away. I get it. It's the only way out is through. That's not entirely true, but at this point, way more work to go back. I'm getting tired. Heading the last few miles into San Clemente, I had one thing on my mind that was becoming a pretty recurring theme: food. I needed ride snacks for the next day and a giant burrito to devour once I got to camp tonight. According to Strava, I'd burned something like 2,500 calories. I stopped in at 7-Eleven for the first one, and then wound my way through town in search of the second one. Howdy. The Camino Real is the main car road through town. It's pretty well marked and easy to follow. But on Strava, I spotted a heavily trafficked alternate route winding through the neighborhoods. Google Maps went with the main road, and Apple Maps caught the beginning bits of the neighborhood route, but then also went back to the main road. I was pretty exhausted, and so the chill path through the neighborhoods was a welcome relief. And most importantly, it ended in a giant California burrito. As much as I want to eat this burrito now, I think it's mission critical to get to camp. I managed to make the last few miles into camp before it got dark. Made it. I set up my tent, lit a fire, and devoured that burrito. When it got dark, I set up a time lapse to watch the moon rise over the hill. And after a while realized that wasn't the glow of the moon, it was just the city lights of all of Southern California over the hill. But I enjoyed the campfire and fell asleep to the sounds of the coyotes and the ocean waves, that's definitely the freeway. And yep, those are military helicopters. Ah, paradise. The next morning, I woke up to a little rain, but after a few minutes it cleared and it turned into a beautiful sunny morning. The first riding of the day is a few miles along a winding trail that leads up to the Old Coast Highway. You ride along San Onofre State Beach and along some old sections of long abandoned highway. And all of this really lures me into a false sense of security, because I know what's coming next. Arguably the biggest challenge on the entire ride. Interstate 5.
one of the most heavily trafficked roads in California. Camp Pendleton takes up this entire stretch of coastline, and if you were traveling by bike, you used to be able to ride through the base. You might still be able to do that if you can somehow secure a base pass, but for us plebeians, the workaround they've come up with is routing all bike traffic onto Highway 5.
The one place exclusively designed for cars.
Merging onto the freeway went better than expected, and there is a pretty large shoulder.
It's loud. It's heads up. Definitely. Okay, that's a little scary. Definitely hugging the right of the shoulder here. But it's not, this isn't like the worst thing in the world. Okay, it's when the trucks pass. When the trucks pass, it's a little scary. I don't really remember how long we're on this.
The answer is 7.5 miles. It's actually kind of hard to get maps to route you on Interstate 5. Almost like it's a bad idea or something. Google even suggests that I take a 10.5-hour detour instead. These are undoubtedly the least pleasant 7.5 miles of the entire trip. And it isn't long before I'm basically hallucinating ways to get off of this freeway.
Please let this be an exit. I thought this was an exit. This keeps getting longer.
But eventually I do make it, and it is a welcome relief to be back on surface streets.
Okay, it's time to find breakfast. It's time to plug in my phone and charge it. It's time for some coffee. No need for coffee when you start your day with Interstate 5.
I prioritized charging camera batteries at the campground, so right as I pulled off the freeway, my phone navigation died. I'd found a diner that looked good the night before, and now that the hard part of the day was done, I figured I'd wander around town and look for it.
We're analog now, and they're just gonna use our eyeballs. Let's see what happens.
The eyeballs worked, and Mary's Kitchen did not disappoint. The biscuits and gravy with eggs and hash browns was exactly what I needed to fuel a big day of riding. After breakfast, it was back to Dilly Dallying.
This looks like some more Dilly Dallying. Found a nature reserve.
I had stumbled on the Buena Vista Lagoon Ecological Reserve, which is a 206-acre coastal freshwater lagoon habitat. I didn't stay for long, but I chatted with the docent, who said if I thought this place was cool, I definitely needed to stop in at the even bigger lagoon down the road. Apparently it was the one that had gotten all the grant money. So my entire day was shaping up to surround 3 goals. 1, make it to San Diego. 2, stop in at the big lagoon. And 3, get a good shot of the Amtrak train that I would be taking back home. It runs about every hour. I kept seeing hints of it all over, but every time I happened to see a train, I never had my camera quite ready. So yeah, goal 3 became film a train.
What I'm doing now is standing by the railroad tracks. I'm standing on this overpass, waiting for a train to come, looking down this little train canyon. I set a timer for 10 minutes, and if the train doesn't come in 10 minutes, then we are going to continue on our ride.
While I was waiting for the train, I forgot that I'd actually taken a slight detour off route. And I just kept on riding that way afterward, clocking a few extra credit miles for the day. Dilly frickin' dallying. That is the trip motto. I dillied pretty hard at this bench, just looking out over the ocean and I spent way more time than I'm willing to admit filming close-ups of plants. Then I dallied on down to the beach to just take in the waves for a while. That San Diego chill vibe had washed over me, and I wandered down the coast to the Big Lagoon, more formally known as San Elijo Lagoon Ecological Reserve. And yeah, the Big Lagoon is quite a bit bigger. It was super peaceful, just listening to all the ducks chit-chatting about duck stuff. I could have hung out there the rest of the afternoon, but I still had 25 miles to cover before sunset. Heading up into Torrey Pines, you're faced with the last big challenge of the ride. A proper 1.5 mile climb up the hillside. It's not too steep, but by the end of the day, I'm cruising along in the slow lane. Yeah, they have two bike lanes, complete with a passing lane for faster traffic to go on the left.
Woo! Made it to the top of the main climb. Exhausted.
For the final 10 miles or so, my camera and my phone were both running out of battery.
This 360's dead. Phone is at 6% and I need it for navigation, so we'll see you on the other side.
Even when I leave the e-bike at home, I still manage to run out of battery one way or another. I watched the sunset as I cruised into San Diego and headed straight for a hot shower, a burger, and a beer. The last time I did this trip, I camped at the KOA, and it's kind of far from the train station, and it's $60 for a tiny little patch of mulch. You can upgrade to a little cabin, but it seemed a little expensive for what you get. So I ended up finding a deal on a hotel close to the train station for $90. And honestly, that hot shower might have been worth every penny. After a good night's sleep, I grabbed some breakfast and, you guessed it, dilly-dallied around San Diego for a little while. I had aspirations of riding through the park, but after 126 miles on the bike, I was not looking for any additional extra credit. On the train ride home, it was amazing how fast all the places I just pedaled through flew by outside the window. There was the Big Lagoon, the beach bike path, the Interstate. And at the end of the day, I accomplished all 3 of my goals. I made it to San Diego, I saw the Big Lagoon, and I even got that shot of a train that I was waiting for. If you're here for more car-free adventures, you know what to do.
That was terrifying.
Thank you for being here, and as always, thanks for watching.